Hi, I'm Gabby from GoNaturalEnglish.com. English learners, stop introducing yourself the wrong way. I see you trying to introduce yourself and failing because you're doing a few things wrong. And today, we are going to talk about 9 tips for making your self-introduction more powerful and memorable when you're speaking English with native speakers. This is important because your self-introduction is your chance to shine. It is your first impression. And it's really important to make a good first impression. So these tips are for really any situation, not only for a job interview, but in casual situations too. So across the board, it's a good idea to follow these 9 tips. Now, if you are learning English and you would like to learn more with me through the complete Go Natural English course, you can join the wait list to learn more about how you can benefit from the course at GoNaturalEnglish.com/pre-reg. The link is also in the description, so you can click on it, enter your name and email address to get that information now. Now, let's talk about how to make a powerful and memorable first impression. Some of these tips might seem really obvious, but I see a lot of you English learners forgetting these. Maybe you feel nervous or shy or hesitant, or maybe it's just not a habit to do these things because maybe in your culture you would introduce yourself a little bit differently. The first thing that's really, really, really important in North American culture, when you introduce yourself, smile and make eye contact. See, this doesn't even require English language skills. It's more of your body language. You want to be approachable and seem friendly and open and nice to talk to. So smile and make eye contact. Of course, you can look away, you can blink, you don't want to make too much eye contact, but it is important to look the person in the eye. This shows interest and confidence. Number 2, this is so important. So many of you say your name really quickly, and what happens? Well, nothing, because the other person can't remember your name, they can't understand your name, and therefore they don't remember you because maybe they're too embarrassed to ask you to say your name again because it's kind of considered rude to show that you couldn't understand the person's name. So, of course, this depends, but sometimes, especially if someone has asked you more than once, they don't want to ask you 2 or 3 times to repeat your name. It's kind of embarrassing. So when you say your name, when you introduce yourself, please speak slowly and clearly, especially if your name is somewhat different or unique from the culture or from the other names in the environment where you are introducing yourself. So, for example, when I lived in Japan, I would be really careful to say my name slowly and clearly and to say it in a Japanese way. So my full name is actually Gabrielle, and even native English speakers have trouble with that one. So in Japanese, it sounds like Gabrieru. So I would say it the Japanese way. So try to learn how to say your name the North American English way. And if it's still difficult for people, you might consider a nickname or shortening your name just to make it easier for people you're meeting. Like, my name is Gabby, which I found was much easier for people to say in Japan. Gabby, just 2 syllables. It's way easier, and so that's when I really adopted this nickname when I started teaching English many years ago in Japan at companies and at a university. So remember how important it is to speak clearly, loudly, and slowly when you're saying your name. Another tip that you could try with your name is to tell someone what it sounds like. For example, Gabby, it sounds like crabby or grabby. These are not necessarily good things, but they are things that will help you to remember my name. Or my least favorite, flabby, which is another way of saying fat. So anyway, try to think of words that rhyme with your name, or maybe words that sound like your name that could help other people to remember them. That is really helpful and makes your name more memorable. All right, next, this might seem super obvious, but be ready to shake hands. In North American culture, we often shake hands even outside of business situations. If you're meeting someone at a networking event or a party or just casually, people still shake hands. In some cases, if you're meeting a friend of a friend, be ready to hug. Or in some cases, be ready to do nothing. Sometimes people don't shake or hug. You can wait for the other person to give you a cue, or you can decide what you want to do and go for that hug or go for that handshake. But be ready to do that gesture, whatever it is that is appropriate for the situation. And if you are shaking hands, please practice. Please do not have a limp handshake or a weak handshake. This will not earn you respect if you have a very soft handshake. Men and women alike. You don't want it to be too hard. Don't crush the other person's hand, but you want to show that you're confident. And you do that by going for a firm handshake. So shake, squeeze, make it confident. And you could practice with a friend if you're not really used to doing this. One strategy that has worked really well for me, especially when I'm trying to talk to someone whom I admire or maybe someone famous, is that I start with a compliment. Hey, I really love your work, or I admire how your YouTube channel has grown, or something specific to that person. It's a great way to start a conversation, especially if there's no one there to introduce you. But even if there is, it's always welcome to start with a compliment. When you meet someone for the first time and you're introducing yourself, it's a good idea to say, "Nice to meet you." Nice to meet you. But we only say this the first time that we meet someone. We don't say this the second time you see someone. That would be nice to see you again. So be careful, because a lot of English learners make this mistake thinking that nice to meet you can be used many times. It's only the first time that you meet someone. Now, a lot of tutorials on how to introduce yourself tell you to share your achievements or to talk about your accomplishments so the other person knows how amazing you are. The thing is, nobody cares about you unless they know that you care about them. Or if you're famous, then people care about you, right? But if you're not a superstar, if you're not super famous, we need to show that we care about the other person first before they care about all of our achievements and accolades and accomplishments. So, how do you get the other person to know that you care about them so that they care about you? Well, make a connection. Ask a question if it helps. Maybe you know someone in common. Maybe you have some similar work experience, or maybe you're working at the same place or in the same field. Maybe you have common interests. But see if you can guess, or if you already know something that you have in common. Make the connection and then share something really cool about yourself. So it's important to share who you are and how awesome you are, but I wouldn't advise doing that until the other person knows that you care about them and they care about you. So this is a really interesting moment for you to figure out kind of where you connect with the other person. But don't be shy to talk about yourself, to say some information about yourself so that the other person knows who you are or could ask you questions or continue the conversation. A lot of English learners make the mistake of simply saying, "Hi, I'm Gabby," and then you don't say anything else. This makes it very difficult for the other person to continue the conversation if you're not willing to provide a little bit more information about yourself. So how about sharing where you're from? Hi, I'm Gabby. I'm from the United States. Or what you do. I'm an English teacher. Or what you do in your free time. I love to travel. By the way, no one really talks about what they do in their free time by using the word hobby. I've heard this too many times. What is your hobby? My hobby is travel. Native English speakers don't talk like this. This is something from old, out-of-date English textbooks. So I recommend instead of asking people, what is your hobby? Ask, what do you like to do in your free time? And on that note, don't be afraid to ask the other person questions to get to know them, to establish some commonalities or connections. This will really make your self-introduction memorable. Remember that a self-introduction is not a presentation. It is not a lecture. If you need to get your slide deck out in order to make your self-introduction, it's not good. You want to make this a two-way conversation, back and forth, question and answer. So when you're talking about yourself, keep it short. Say one sentence about yourself and then maybe ask a question or ask, how about you? Or what do you do? Or where are you from? Or what do you enjoy doing in your free time? What are you excited about? Or what are you working on these days? These are all questions that could help your self-introduction to stick out, and stick out in a good way. It's actually really powerful to show interest in the other person and, of course, share about yourself. We need both. And a bonus idea for you here, if your self-introduction goes into a conversation with someone, have some interesting piece of information to share. Maybe something you saw in the news or a book that you've been reading recently, and something that could be maybe useful or interesting to the other person. I know when people share information or share a good book recommendation, I really appreciate it and it makes that person more memorable to me. So that's why I'm sharing this tip, because when you're helpful to other people and their interests, they will remember you. And don't be shy to share who you are. Remember that people are interested in other people. They want to get to know you and make connections as well. So don't be shy. If you don't share who you are, you're basically stealing that great experience or that connection from other people. What about you? Do you have any other pointers or suggestions for how to make a lasting impression with a powerful, memorable self-introduction? Share them in the comments. I would love to hear from you as well. Let's help each other out to make better self-introductions. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe to Go Natural English here on YouTube. And if you would like to learn more English in my course for English language learners, join the waitlist to get more information now at gonaturalenglish.com/pre-reg. I'll see you there. Bye for now.